Alright, we got some new mail today. Let's check out what's inside. So we got some more Ishin E010s for our web store. And some replacement frames or ducts. And then we got this replacement motor for the QX100. Oh, sorry, this is the QX100 motor. So these are the Racer Star 59,500 RPM motors for the for upgrading your Ishin E010 quads. I've got a couple of them, and I got a big ass ESC. I think this is a 30 amp. No, sorry, I think this is maybe just a 20 amp ESC with a 5 volt BEC. And actually, I want to show you what I plan to do with this ESC. Alright, so here's the red brick 30 amp ESC. Now what we are going to do with this ESC today is to create a motor tester for one of our quad motors. So every now and then, if you're flying quads, your motors are going to get pretty banged up with a crash. So so if you have a couple of motors lying around, sometimes you need a really easy way to test these if they're still working, or if they're not, before you solder in into your mini quad or into your quad. So you can just find any of your ESCs lying around, but what's important is that this needs to have a 5 volt BEC, and the reason for that is so that you don't need a separate 5 volt input for a servo tester like this. So this is actually one of the other important components that you'll be needing for your motor tester. Some other parts we're going to need is an XT60 connector, and that's going to be connected to your LiPo battery. I think a 3S battery would probably do, and of course your the motors in question that you need tested. So this Emax RS2205 2300 kV motor crashed with one of my tricopters and stopped working. So I want to know, is this motor really busted? And that's what we're gonna see with this battery tester that we're gonna make. So let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to try it with a working motor. We know that this motor is working, and we hooked it up to our ESC temporarily with some banana plugs and some electric tape. And we hooked up our servo tester to our ESC, and now we're going to plug it in to our LiPo battery. Doesn't matter what kind of battery you have, it can be a 2S or 3S. So here you hear the motor starting up, as you would when you hook it up with an ESC. And now we're going to rotate the dial on our servo tester, see if it's going to spin. Okay. Alright. There you go. And as you can see, the higher you turn this up, the higher it's going to crank up. In case you don't have a servo tester, you can hook it up directly to your transmitter and receiver. Now here I have an FR Sky X8R, and what's important is that your receiver needs to have these 8-channel outputs that can be hooked up directly to servos, or in this case to my ESC. Now if you have one of those micro receivers which only have PPM and S-bus, that's not going to work. You need to have those with the individual channel outputs. Now, as you can see in my screen, I have my transmitter configured with channel 3 as my throttle. The ESC is also plugged into channel 3 of my receiver. And that's just a personal preference. If you want to hook it up to your aileron or elevator, or even your rudder, that's up to you. But I prefer the throttle, so I can leave my throttle in the down position. So now that you've got it hooked up, you can just power on the throttle. Next, as you can see, as you move the throttle up, the motor winds up, and when you move it down, the motor winds down. Alright, so now we have our bad motor connected to our motor tester setup, and we will see, as you can hear, it's moving, it's beeping because it's connected to the ESC, but we will see if it's going to spin with our servo tester. So as you can see, even if we move the dial, it's not spinning. If this was an expensive motor, I would probably, try to salvage it. But for these cheaper ones, it's probably won't be worth your time. But for creating a 5-minute motor tester, it will save you a lot of headache. It'll save you a lot of trouble of putting it in your quad, finding out that it's a busted motor, and then removing it, replacing it with another motor, and then you're gonna have to test it, see if that motor is working. So, if all your motors are brand new, then it's not gonna be a problem. But for the more involved hobbyists who's probably have a lot more motors lying around, this might be a good tool for you to just routinely be able to test any of the motors that you're planning to use on a quad. And there you have it. It's a very cheap motor tester, which you can just assemble with some spare parts, or with very, very cheap parts. A Hobby King servo tester, and any ESC you may have lying around. Depends on what motor you're going to be testing, on how expensive you're going to be spending on your ESC. But I recommend just choose something that you can easily use, and then with 5 minutes of solder work, and you have your own motor tester. So I hope this would help you in whatever stage you are at the drone hobby, and keep building and keep flying.